Yo, the only reason why I'm wearing this hat is because right now my hair is looking like Samuel L. Jackson was as Mr. Glass. Yo, I really need a haircut, guys. Someone please recommend a barber for me. I'm out here looking kind of whack. Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. In today's video, I'm gonna give you a guide on how to shop for a Chinese frame set in 2022. And later on, I'm also gonna give you my recommendation on which Chinese brand you should purchase from. Oh, and if you are new to my channel, my name is Patrick Lino, and I am an amateur bike racer here in Chicago who does bike builds. I do product reviews, and I absolutely love wearing the tightest kit I can possibly find. So without further ado, let's begin. So within these past 2 years, we've seen a huge boom in bike sales, but unfortunately that also came at a time when supply chain issues really hit hard among the major bike companies out there. And so during that same time, Chinese brands continue to find an opportunity or see an opportunity to sell customer direct and really ramp up both their quality and customer service. Now it's to the point that buying directly from China is not as frowned upon or as taboo as it's been in years past, but that doesn't mean that buying a Chinese frame set does not come with its own quirks and downsides. So without further ado, guys, here are 5 points to consider when shopping for a Chinese frame set. So number 1, guys, manage your expectations. You have to understand that these frames can range in price from anywhere from $500 USD all the way up to $1,200 or even $1,500 USD. So you have to understand that the level of quality and experience that you're going to get is not going to be the same as some of the bigger brands out there. And so when you're deciding that you want to purchase a Chinese frame set, make sure you go into the whole overall experience within good faith, but just know that things are not going to be one-to-one compared to the brands out there that are charging 4 or 5 times the price for their frame sets. Number 2, guys, is what I like to call sweat equity. So for any of you guys out there who are into real estate investing, such as myself, you know that there is a term that we call sweat equity. And basically what that means is if you were buying a house in order to flip for a profit, you would buy the property, usually distressed, and it needs a lot of work. You would buy it at a low price, because the idea behind it is if you buy it at a low price and it needs a lot of work, you're going to be putting in all the work yourself to create value within that property. Once you put in the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, you can then sell it at a higher price in order to make a profit. And that's basically the same idea I like to think about when it comes to these Chinese frames. A lot of the value proposition lies in the fact that you, the customer, are going to be putting in a lot of the work on the back end. So you buy the frames cheap, that means you're going to be building it yourself, you're going to be sourcing all the components, you're going to be dealing with all the nuances in there. And so if you are able to do that, there's a lot of savings to be had. However, if you aren't in a position to be able to build your own bike and find your components, then I think it still makes sense to go ahead and just buy from a local bike shop or just purchase from one of the bigger bike brands out there. Number 3, guys, research, research, research. Over these past few months, I've gotten a lot of comments and experiences from people, some of them good, some of them not so good, just kind of telling me how it's been dealing with these Chinese brands. And for the most part, the experiences have been within good faith, but there are times when I can tell pretty much right away that the person going into the experience of dealing with the Chinese frame set, that it wasn't in good faith and that their expectations were completely through the roof of what was actually being delivered. So make sure before you spend any of your hard-earned money, make sure you spend time on YouTube, on any of the forums out there that deal with Chinese frame sets. In my opinion, I would say spend at least a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, scouring the web, researching to make sure that you can find a Chinese frame set that makes sense for you. Research, 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 guys. I cannot stress that enough. So number 4, guys, is communication. Now, regarding communication, I have a quick background story. Before I got into cycling, I had considered here in Chicago opening up my own custom suit tailoring shop for customers here. In fact, the suit I'm wearing is a custom suit that was made directly in a factory in China. And so the idea was I was going to measure all of my clients here in Chicago, and then I would send all the measurements and data to a factory in China that would make all of my custom suits, shirts, ties, etc. And then they would mail it back to me in about 5 to 6 weeks. And what I learned is, despite the fact that these factories have the capacity to build a lot of custom suits in a timely fashion, the communication was always its Achilles heels. And so what I would say for anyone out there when it comes to these Chinese frames is you have to manage your expectations as far as communication goes. So I would not recommend sending these Chinese brands a 6-page essay with every single question you've ever had about bikes, using all these overcomplicated and technical English words, because their shop is not set up to do that. In fact, a lot of times their customer service is just a one-man show. So perhaps maybe break up your communication communication over a few emails to give them a chance to actually be able to answer all of your questions and that they can do so efficiently. Now, don't get me wrong, communication is very, very important, and I'm not saying that you should not ask them as many questions as possible, because in my opinion, the communication aspect of your experience is part of the vetting process when dealing with these Chinese brands. But I'm just saying that you have to manage how much information you give them all at once, because chances are it's just going to be frustrating for you and them, or they may not even respond to your email at all. So number 5, guys, which Chinese brand gets my recommendation? Well, the short answer is this: choose whatever brand fits your budget, but most importantly, treats you best as a customer. So if you've done all your research, you've spoken to customer service, you've approached the company in good faith, yet you still get an uneasy feeling dealing with that brand, then chances are you should take your hard-earned money elsewhere. Now, while this channel recently has been about showcasing all of these affordable bike brands, I am a huge advocate of holding these companies accountable in the name of customer service. So if you get a bad feeling, simply take your money elsewhere, because it is a responsibility of the brand to want you as a customer, not the other way around. But of course, if you don't want to deal with all the nuances dealing with a Chinese bike brand, you can of course always shop at one of the name brand bike brands out there, and it's probably going to cost you an arm and a leg to do so. But hey, what do I know? But anyway, guys, that wraps up today's video. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. And I will check you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.